After more than 10 years of the character's introduction into the MCU, and 2 years after the original release date, Black Widow has finally released in theaters. We just got done watching it, so let's start talking about it.
Let's go.
What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Brothers Talk About. My name is James.
I'm Chris.
And today we're going to be giving you guys our thoughts and opinions with our review of Marvel's Black Widow. So we're going to be kicking it off with the good things that we liked about the film. So I think I'll kick it off starting it out with the cast. I thought the cast was really good. I liked the introduction of Florence Pugh. And Scarlett Johansson is always great. She did a really good performance in this movie. She did a great job along with David Harbour. As Red Guardian. I thought his character was pretty good.
Yep.
The writing on his character, it was enjoyable, and he kind of provided some comedic elements.
Alexia.
Maybe I wish that he was added some more. Maybe it wasn't as jokey and kind of just like, I mean, he kind of played that barbarian character, like that kind of just like brute force, just like kind of average, like a dummy, like big guy kind of type.
Yeah,
role.
but he had like that father figure role, and he had a lot.
Take.
And for what the movie was, including the mom, she was good. She was probably my least favorite out of the four.
She's definitely the least interesting out of the four.
But I think you could talk good and bad about this movie, but for what it was, for me personally, I enjoyed it. But there was some parts and things I would have changed, but I enjoyed my theater experience going to see it tonight. So let us know what you guys think in the comments below. In case you haven't seen it, we're going to be talking about some spoilers, so
you've been warned.
So
what do you think about the cast overall?
I think the cast was cool. I think the sister, definitely it's set up for her to be future in future MCU movies and as the new Black Widow. Scarlett Johansson gave us, if that is her last performance, I think it was a good performance. I think it was cool to see her for one last time, but I think they could always do multiverse Black Widow or Natasha Romanoff. But I think that David Harbour did a good job. I enjoyed him, and I first seen him in other movies like Green Hornet back in the day, but he really didn't blow up till Stranger Things. And it was funny how his character in Stranger Things got trapped in a prison basically in Russia, and he's almost in similar situation, trapped in a prison in
a funny coincidence with
snowy environment. And his name Alexia or Alexa was almost like that guy.
Yeah, the guy from season 3.
All he wanted was that cherry Slurpee.
But yeah, overall I thought the cast did a great job, and overall I thought the movie was good. Like you mentioned, I thought it was decent. It kind of gave us a decent portrayal of a Black Widow movie, but I personally feel the movie had a lot of flaws.
Yeah.
And so far, that's kind of where I personally am going to end it with my good side of the Black Widow movie.
Alright, so you're going to just rip into it.
Yeah, I'm going to start ripping into it now.
I will say a couple more good things before we go into dogging it. I personally, I'm leaning on more of the side of enjoying it. I think that if it wasn't a origin story and it wasn't a sequel, it was its own story, I take it as like a unique perspective that we didn't get to see, and it built it gave us a lot of information that could lead into a future installments, like whether it's TV shows like the Hawkeye series or future Marvel movies down the line. There was a lot of cool little Easter eggs and stuff that we didn't really know about Natasha and the Red Room, and I think that it kept my interest it kept my interest and made me wonder and excitement what was going to happen next after each scene. The beginning was interesting, seeing her as a young girl in her basically not adopted family, but family that she was living with that was like a controlled environment, and it was cool to see the beginning of the flashbacks. Then it went into present day, but it was actually set in between.
It was like right after Civil 2015. War. I'll give it that. I do like the kind of learning more about the Natasha, and I do like the concept of the Red Room. I think that kind of mature themes of like all this really messed up psycho Russian organization could lead into a really interesting idea in the movie, but I don't personally feel that this film exactly executed that, and I'll have some reasons that I'll give later on my different thoughts on it. But one more thing I want to add, I did add on to what I said, I do really enjoy Florence Pugh's character, and I will be interested to see where her character goes in the future installments.
Yeah, we all know he's got big hearts for Florence Pugh, whatever her name is. Well, her name. She's cool. I think that she was a highlight of the film. I was kind of skeptical with all the trailers, and they're like, oh, family. Like, we already had enough. Everything about this year, family, from Fast 9 to now Black Widow. The family's a big role in the movie, and there's a lot of drama. and it's very like a therapy session almost, like for the family, as they kind of got discord with separation, and then they kind of reunite, and in the end they all work things out. And actually, it had a good ending. Surprisingly, there wasn't, but you kind of know that Black Widow's dead in real life, so that kind of, there wasn't a huge weight to the film because you already knew that. But going forward, the character developments, they all are alive as far as we know, so it's cool to see where they develop. I do agree that the Red Room scenes were very interesting. I wish they kind of skipped a large part of her growing up and training in the Black Widow program. Like, you got to see that there's a bunch of other girls that were in this program, and Natasha was like kind of like a lead, very big key role.
She was just very skilled, and she was very experienced, and one of the best in the Red Room.
It didn't talk much about how she broke off and kind of escaped from that, unless there's things that they touched upon in other movies. But
they touched upon it in the MCU, like Age of Ultron, when she had the flashback with Scarlet Witch. They kind of touched upon different parts about it.
I like the action scenes. I like the fighting. He has different opinions on that, but I actually thought it was cool. And the dialogue and the conversation, sometimes it dragged. Overall, was good.
Okay. So now I'm going to talk about the things that I didn't exactly enjoy about the movie. So, starting it off with, kind of become a problem in the MCU, and I think it's kind of starting to get better, but this film did not do it right. The villain. I thought Taskmaster was a total disappointment on the level of the Mandarin in Iron Man 3. I think that this character, it was a cheap store brand, in-store house brand of Winter Soldier, dude.
Yeah.
There's literally scenes that are exact copies from Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier was a better Black Widow film than this movie was for a Black Widow film, in my opinion. I think that the Taskmaster villain was so
more Captain America,
like so generic, and it was just so like, there's literally a scene in Winter Soldier. Bucky shoots a little gun when it, like the little rocket mine that goes underneath the car.
Yeah.
It sticks and it blows up. That's a literally carbon copy scene that Marvel does in this movie, where Taskmaster shoots an arrow, it goes underneath the car and explodes it from the top. It's literally a carbon copy scene. There's so many instances like that. He's just he could have been they revealed to be a she.
Yeah.
Taskmaster could have been a villain that's so much cooler. I like the fight scenes, like first starting off with the bridge scene. That took a while to get to the action, which I don't really mind too much, kind of building on the story. But that, like, for that to be the first big action scene, I thought it was pretty boring. There's just kind of like a lot of just staring at each other. Like, why are you staring at her? You've literally just
like analyzing.
But they've already shown that they've analyzed her for hours. All she was doing was watching previous footage of Black Widow. Why did she need to just stare at her?
Yeah,
for like a solid 10 seconds.
There's like I said, I'm gonna agree with him with a good amount of stuff, but there are certain things I just leave. This movie took a lot of time, or I don't know how long it took to get developed and made, and they were all proud of it. It's a woman director. Scarlett Johansson she deserved the movie for a while.
That's exactly. She totally deserved the movie in it, but it should have been made 10 years ago.
And it should have been made probably right after Civil War. Would have been a good time.
I would have said right after Winter Soldier. It should have been made right after that.
Yeah, well, it could have been. Well, it would have been a different storyline because she was on the run.
I think
they could have took that. They could have took that whole aspect out, because I feel like they tried to throw a bunch of ideas into this one movie that could have got fleshed out into its own trilogy, in my opinion. I mean, you got the aspect of family, the aspect of the Red Room, and the aspect of the end result with like them all reuniting. I feel like a solo movie of her growing into the role of Black Widow, or even like a small TV series, would have been cool. Then the her on the run and her reuniting with her sister, and with the Taskmaster trying to track her down was one big thing. Then her finally like getting in, like her revenge on the main character.
I was gonna say something very similar. So I think that that's kind of funny you brought that up, because I was gonna say something similar in the point that this could have been like, there's so many small plot points in this movie,
and it could have been
everything could have been flushed out better and made for better films. Taskmaster being one of them. He could have been a more Winter Soldier style villain, and then the plot with the Red Room could have been its own movie. That could have been so much more diving into that and the interestingness about that whole messed up
concept. Like the flashbacks
concept
from Age of Ultron.
Yeah, and then the whole concept, like you said, of the family, learning more about her kind of whole group growing up, what her life was like between where we first meet her in Avengers and back when she was just a kid and we're with David Harbour. So I think that was another fault of the movie. And you want to mention something real quick before we move on to the next point?
Well, what I was saying is, it felt Taskmaster was definitely like a henchman, side villain, and the main bad guy, forget his name, the old dude, was the main villain, basically, because it gave more story and showed more time catered towards him than it really did Taskmaster, because Taskmaster went away after the subway scene, and then he didn't even show up when they infiltrated at the farm of Melina's house, the mom, whatever her name is. And then they have like all these other, the idea with the serum and the other girls turning against each other, like that. They didn't utilize all these things that they're talking about. They kind of just throw it right in to really rush. I felt like the movie, when you're watching it, it feels decently paced, but when you really think about it, it's very rushed with all the things that they're trying to cram into the one thing. So it makes it dissatisfying with the end result.
I think that Taskmaster was I'm done talking about him. And that
Taskmaster, it's like I keep screwing up.
And so then the old dude, he was like relevant for like the last like 20 minutes of the movie.
Well, he reminded me
that just irritates me.
The similarities between Winter Soldier. He reminded me of Robert Redford's character. Whatever, I forget his main name. What was his name?
I don't really care, but it kind of just makes it just like that Winter Soldier. It's just a carbon copy of these movies. It's like
it reminded me of his character, the guy, the orange hair dude, that's Nick Fury's friend that sent that, and with the idea of having Hydra in Shield, it almost is like all the Black Widows at any moment they could be snapped, and they caused all these major world events. That's what it kind of made it sound like. He's like, I had control of
I didn't get that
all this. So it was very much just like the same thing. It was like a different leveled version of a subcategory of Hydra in the sky. They had their own base. No one found them. I don't know how nobody from the Avengers ever noticed this giant headquarters in the sky. Like
what you're saying with the high base in the sky, that scene reminded me of with knowing Black Widow's, how she's like, this is a middle point, we know how she's obviously not going to die in this movie.
Right.
The fact that she's just like skydiving off of this ridiculously high thing, dodging all this stuff, all this debris flying out. She's just like flying down like freaking Spider-Man down like this. Like, it just didn't like that was so like Fast 9 level of ridiculousness to me. It was just so.
She's a trained professional.
It's just like, I don't know, just the small things like that kind of irked me.
Whatever that girl's name is, what's her sister's name?
Yelena.
She's like bringing into real subjects that we notice in the movies, like how Black Widow always does, like lands in these fancy poses, and how like Red Guardian's always bragging about his glory days. Like she's bringing like a freshness in, like, oh, she has like this is a stupid way to die. This is a funny way to die.
Yeah, her comedy is like a very almost like she has like that
realistic sense.
Yeah, a realistic sense of humor. Like she's able to like really pinpoint different things that were just comedic and funny. But one other thing I wanted to say was the action. So getting on like how you said you liked the action in this movie, the fight with Red Guardian versus Taskmaster.
Yeah, it was chopped.
It was so like before you could really get into the fight, it just cuts away again. Like as you're getting like he like gets the Black Panther claws, he starts to go fight, he does a kick off of him, then it cuts. It's like, I want to experience these fights. And with Red Guardian, I feel like he could have been, like you're saying, he talks about his glory days, he could have had some cool fight scenes. And they're just kind of...
Same thing with Taskmaster.
Underwhelming.
Like, they only showed you the bits and pieces. Like, there was more of a chasing. And I didn't really care for the scene when they're, like, in the car where they're going through the city with the tank.
It wasn't a bad chase.
It wasn't that bad, but it just meant, like, I like more hand-to-hand running combats. I like the scene where all the Black Widows, were, like, sliding down the rooftops and chasing after the sisters, but
it was cool.
They didn't really use them as much as I thought they were gonna, because there's a lot that they could do with them. Like at the end when it showed after everybody on the screen, there's a lot of widows out there, and she downloaded the file. I'm curious to see. I have a lot of questions with the movie, and I could keep talking on and on, but basically I'll leave it back to him. But there's a lot of questions I have. It could be a whole separate video. So if you have questions or you have answers to anything we're saying, comment and let us know what you guys think and our thoughts. We like interacting with you guys, so thank you for those who comment.
Yes, thank you guys. We appreciate it.
But moving on, we're going to wrap it up by finishing up.
Yeah, so I think this movie had a lot of potential to be a really awesome spy thriller with a character like Black Widow and history that we've delved into this character and this kind of love and appreciation that we've come to with this original cast of the Avengers. It could have been a movie that could have easily fit in to the Iron Man movies, the Captain America movies, Thor. She should have had her own movie, or at least a TV show by now. And I think that this movie didn't fully deliver on what I would have wanted in that. But you want to wrap it up with your thoughts?
Like I said, I liked the movie. I enjoyed it. My family we went to go see it as a family. We were kind of split. My mom thought it was meh. My dad really didn't like it. My sisters liked it. We liked it. Well, at least I did.
He
enjoyed it.
But
could have been better. We both almost agree on the same things. I'm just giving it a little bit more love because it is what it is. It's already done. It's out there. I'm excited to see where they go forward with it.
All right, now we'll quickly touch upon the post-credit scene. So the post-credit scene kind of set up a story, which kind of I expected by the end of the movie. Some kind of continuation on Yelena's story, and that's kind of where it's going. Bringing in Val from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, kind of recruiting this team, and setting up for the Hawkeye series, and maybe even a spin-off with the Thunderbolts.
Yeah, with all the, she's recruiting these anti-Avengers almost, and
she's like Dark Avengers crew.
The cameo, I mean, you didn't know who it was going to be, and it was cool to see the connection with that and Falcon and Winter Soldier, like you said. I'm wondering if she's going to realize that Clint was Hawkeye, was Natasha's friend, and she chose to sacrifice herself, and will she turn against Val? Maybe. Or will she end up becoming a villain?
He might join the crew. He might join that evil Avengers crew. He might be you might swap from good Hawkeye to evil Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, Ronan.
Never know.
I think that's a good idea. I'm excited to see where her character goes, and we have a lot to look forward to. So hopefully we'll get some cool info as the year goes on with that.
For sure. So please, guys, subscribe to the channel if you're new, like the video if you enjoyed it, and comment down below your thoughts and opinions on Black Widow. And stay tuned for our Loki finale video. This series going nuts. It's going to be an interesting finale, so stay tuned for that. And thank you guys so much for watching.
Peace out.